See it's a library tomorrow night, 6:30.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the Londonderry Utilities Committee meeting to order for Tuesday, July 3rd, 2025. Please join me in pledging the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That has more meaning now than ever.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
it's been here for a while.
So, like I said, good evening, everybody. We have a full board tonight, so there will be no, the alternates won't be voting on anything, not that we have too much to vote on tonight. But thank you for all giving your time, donating your time tonight to be here. Second item on the agenda is public comment. Once again, tonight, we don't have anybody from the public joining us. So we're going to move on to administrative board work. First item will be the approval of the May minutes. John, any feedback from anybody on May minutes?
First of all, I apologize for getting it done so late. I had a couple of issues. So typing is not in my forte for the next 30 days. So,
What happened? Does something happen?
yeah, it's
Long story.
vertebrae.
Oh, ooh.
Jeez.
I had time to read the minutes, so I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of the last meeting.
I have a motion to accept the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Mike Speltz. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Minutes of May are approved, and John, thank you for putting those together.
Oh, thank you, Chief Editor.
Moving on. Discussions with town staff.
Mr. Chair, I don't have much for you today, other than the fact that we officially have our new town manager in-house, Sean Mulholland. He completed his first day yesterday. He is an early riser and puts a late end to the day. He's been really interested with everything that you are doing from what we've discussed so far. He's looking forward to coming to a future meeting. And hearing more about all the work and that you have and continue to put in. So,
Any thoughts on having him for our July meeting or our August meeting? I don't know what his schedule looks like. Obviously, he's got a lot on his plate.
I
but
can certainly run
I'd like
that by
to get
him.
it, in front of him, get him in front of us. And
Yeah.
let him know what we're up to.
absolutely, I can certainly run that by him and see which one would work better with his schedule. And then I'll loop back to you. I
Okay.
can even send out an email and let you know which agenda I'm requesting it to be on.
Okay, yeah, and just, we'll get to it at the end of the meeting, but our next meeting is on July 1st, and that's the week of July 4th. So we'll have to figure out how that works for everybody, if it does, if it doesn't. So, I mean, it's coming up fast. The summer is already starting to go right through.
Years have
Is that what it is when
Yeah.
that big yellow ball's in the sky? Is that what that's called?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet before today, so, sorry.
I'm going to ask Ron. Ron, anything happening from your perspective for us?
I think right now we're kind of working together with the water subcommittee to get a plan together to bring to the town council as far as a phased water plan. So we're working together to put that together and bring that hopefully in front of the town council maybe August, September, something like that. No,
Not
July,
July,
okay.
August-ish.
Yeah.
August-ish.
So whenever you want it on the agenda,
Yep.
I'll put it on the agenda. But it's going well. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
From what I've seen, I think it's a great thing,
yeah.
Yeah. Knock on wood.
always.
Yeah.
You can always ask a question.
Ron, can
Yeah.
you tell us a little bit about the commission that has been established in the state that you sit on?
Sure.
That has to do with PFAS. It's looking at both the environmental as well as the health impacts.
Yep. So it started off as the HB 737 Commission, and it is called the Commission on the Environmental and Public Health Impacts of Polyfluorinated Chemicals. It meets on Fridays, the second Friday at 2 p.m. of the month. It represents what the commission does is it studies the impacts of PFAS, and we talk right now. Merrimack, Londonderry, Litchfield, Hudson, and Bedford are all part of the commission. There's 24 members, and we also have Mike Wimsat from New Hampshire DES that sits on the commission with us. So we get updates as far as each town, where they stand as far as the either water lines being installed or any kind of pullet systems being installed. He updates us monthly on that. Updates us on where we are as far as air quality, that kind of stuff. And also is updating us right now on the decommissioning of the plant, St. Cobain and Merrimack. They're basically taking the plant apart and they're shipping off the
It's all,
pieces of the plant.
that's all
to do-
done.
Okay, yeah, it might be done.
Yeah.
I'm just saying what the
Yeah.
commission does. So, well, he gives us updates on where that is, and the last update we had was that they were grinding the concrete and sending that off. They did basically making sure that everything PFAS related was out of the thing. So that's basically what the commission does. Each town is represented, and I am trying to get a citizen representative for us. Ray offered to be on the committee, and I'm just waiting for a signature to get him on the committee, and then there'll be 2 of us on the committee from Londonderry.
Is the citizen representation from Londonderry or just a citizen representative, or, representing the state?
So each of the 5 towns has 1 citizen representative. So that's 5, and then each town has either a town representative, meaning a town council member or a select board person on the committee.
Yep.
And then there are also appointments that are for each, like DES has an appointment. There's different, New Hampshire, the committee has different people that are, I'm trying to think. We have different commissions the different people that are on the commission, and they're all appointed. And those appointments go through the Senate. The Senate president signs off on them, so.
And state representatives as well.
Yeah, there's also state reps, yep.
And senators.
Yep,
Yeah.
and Senate, yeah. So we also have 2 senators on the committee, and there's 5 state reps. Rosemary Rung is one of them that you spoke to earlier today.
Thank
She's
you.
one of them. So, yeah.
Who are the state reps from Londonderry, yourself and Tom
Right now,
Dillon?
it's just me on the committee. I'm trying to get Ray on it.
I thought there were
Step
2.
down.
So there's not another state rep on the committee?
Not from Londonderry.
Londonderry.
Okay.
Nope.
Interesting. Okay. So would Ray be the placement for Tom Dolan, or?
Right now, Tom has stepped aside. Right
Right.
now, the position is unfilled.
Oh.
So Ray would be the citizen representative. I kind of took Tom's spot, I guess, if you want to say, because Tom was the town council representative at the time, so I took that spot.
Oh, okay.
So Ray is taking the citizen spot that I had for, I think, 3 years prior.
Okay. And what has actually come out of that committee? Have there been any policy papers, any documents?
Yeah, we
any-
actually we make a report every November, and it goes to the governor, and to the Senate president, and to the Speaker of the House. So I can bring some of those reports and bring them to the committee for
Yeah,
you guys if you want
actually,
to see
that
them, or I
would
can
be
email them. I
great.
can email them to you, Lynn, because we do a report an annual report every year.
Okay.
It has, if you just do a search, I'm sorry,
No, please.
so if you just do a search on New Hampshire HP 737, you can get to the committee website and there's, I don't know, 30 or 40 documents and deep agendas. There's a lot of data. They've got a great website.
It's HB 37? P?
P, I think.
B,
B, yeah, that's what-
B.
House Bill
Oh. Right,
737.
oh, 737.
And it's,
New Hampshire.
they
Yeah.
have to update their website. I spoke to Rosemary about that today, and it has to be updated.
There's a lot of
You'll-
good data on it, though. I'll send you this.
There
link.
are a lot of documents, so
Yeah,
there
lots
are
of
useful documents.
Great. And you said that they meet the second Friday
Yes.
at 2:00. Can anybody come into those meetings?
So anybody
Do you have
can
observers?
request a link. You just can't speak.
Right, but say if you wanted to go and just sit there and not.
We do
Zoom
meet
meeting.
online.
Oh, it's Zoom.
So it's remote. So if you wanted to get a link to it, I could have them send you a link. You just wouldn't be able to speak.
That would be great.
Rosemary said that that might be part of the calendar.
Yep.
That would be right on
Rosemary.
Rosemary Rung, who is,
She's a
well,
rep
she's
from
on the committee.
Merrimack. She's on the committee.
Okay.
And I spoke to her today. I sent her an email to ask her about this.
Okay.
And she,
Is Wendy and Nancy both on that?
They are.
Wendy, yep,
yeah.
yep. And so is Mindy,
Yep. Mindy Mezzer's on it too.
yep.
Oh, good, as a citizen representative, since she's no longer a rep.
Right.
Right.
So that's why I say some of them are. There's 5 rep positions. So I believe that Wendy is one of the reps, and I believe Rosemary is one of the reps, and then they have a citizen rep, which I think is Mindy.
Great.
So
Good, that's good.
There were a lot of experts on
Yeah.
the committee.
Mm-hmm.
Really smart experts
Yeah.
that have done some really good things.
Well, it's been going on for quite a long time.
Yep, I believe we're in our 6th year.
Yep.
Now, they said when they set it up, it was going to go for 5 years?
Yep.
So this is.
And last term, we renewed it.
Okay.
So Nancy Murphy put the bill in, I co-sponsored it. We got it to basically just continue for another 5 years. Commissions now go for 5 years.
Okay,
So it went for 5, and it'll go for 5 more, and then we'll see where we are after that.
okay,
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, thanks.
no, anytime.
Okay. Martha, master plan update, any news to report?
Unfortunately, there's no news to report yet. I'm hoping that there will be a meeting this month. I'm not sure if it's the 19th or the 26th. Kirsten, do you know?
I'm not 100% sure. Normally they meet the 3rd Thursday, but they may have changed it this month.
And I hadn't heard anything about changing it, but Kelly seemed to mention it last night that it might be on the 26th, so
I can certainly double check that date
I will
for you,
double
Martha.
check that date, but nevertheless, there's a meeting coming this month.
Yeah, and it'll be confirmed, or should be confirmed tomorrow night at the planning board.
Okay, 26th.
But I believe it is the 26th.
Okay.
But it should be confirmed tomorrow night.
Okay, and hopefully, I will have more information to report about the master plan at that time.
After that, yeah, at our July meeting.
Yeah.
And I did put together the 3 subcommittee master plans into a single document. I did send that out maybe 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. So that's kind of where my thoughts are at. We still have a long way to go before we incorporate that into the overall master plan. So any feedback, any good ideas, bad ideas, let me know.
We might have some edits coming from the water committee,
Yep.
maybe. So, but I mean, we've got plenty of time.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. And I'd rather go in with something as close to perfect as we can get.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then, as opposed to just submit something for the sake of submitting it.
Understood.
And I'm sure that's everybody's philosophy, right?
Absolutely.
But I think we have a good start. I think, I think it's gonna guide us for the next number of years as to what we're doing as a committee. So I think it's a good thing to have. It's a good thing for everybody to read through and be familiar with it.
Did you copy us on it?
I
On
think
the
I copied
assembled?
everybody, I thought.
Okay,
I thought,
I'll double check my email.
yeah, maybe last week? Really?
Yeah,
I
but
sent it out with the
It was
agenda.
with the agenda, yeah.
Went out with
Ah.
the agenda last week.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all right, Jeff.
Sorry.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you.
would you like a copy?
Open your attendance.
I had a question on the master plan.
Sure.
I engaged in a naive but fruitless effort to find information on the master plan steering committee on the town website. All I found was agendas and minutes, but I didn't find any draft documents. So is it just that I'm too old to be fooling with technology, or was there?
We have not been provided with any other documentation other than the minutes and the agendas to date. As far as I'm aware, nobody has sent me anything. I could check and see if it's made its way to another employee and never made it to me, but I have not received any draft documents since at least this calendar year.
It was attached to the
No, I
agenda.
thought the survey results were there.
Yeah, the survey.
There's a link to the master plan page. So Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission maintains their page, and there's a link to that page on the master plan. So actually here,
Okay, then
pictures
that's how you have to
versus
get there.
words. Hold on. So,
There should be more there.
so there is, if we go to your government and we go to, it is under land
Master
use
plan.
boards, master plan steering committee. So the master plan website right here, this is what the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission maintains. So we don't have anything to do with this.
They're the keeper of the
No,
draft.
they're the keeper of the documents,
Right,
but
right now.
we have a lot to do with it.
Oh, sorry. When I say we don't have anything to do with it, I mean
You're not
the
maintaining
town
it.
staff that maintains the website. That's what I mean. Yeah. So the town, which is myself and the other two site admins at the town. We don't maintain this website, nor does the planning department here. So when I say we, I mean staff who build this. You certainly, everybody here has a role in creating it. So if you go there under community survey, you can see the community survey summary, some information there, the list of members, the FAQ. And so this is last summer's events when they were conducting the surveys. So this is the information that Southern New Hampshire has provided. Alicia and I are happy to upload documents to the website. I just don't believe to this page. I don't believe we have seen any. Again, I could be mistaken and I can certainly double check, but this is, so if you look over here, this quick links right here, it's very easy for me to build that out with documents. If we'd like to double represent them, entirely that is a decision based for the people who are doing it, but I'm happy to execute it if somebody would like that. So, does that answer your question, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like I didn't miss anything. I did see the
So-
survey, but what I
Yeah.
was looking for, because I think I read in the paper that the committee had been talking about draft documents, and I thought maybe I could find one of those draft documents, but I came up empty-handed.
So, double check the minutes here. Because I know in the past they have appended documents to the minutes. I don't see any on that one.
So there is a draft document out there. I'll inquire about this,
Yeah.
Yes.
getting that uploaded to the
Yeah.
website.
And so
Yeah, I would
again,
say-
we are thrilled and happy. I'm thrilled and happy to put things on there. If somebody wants to send me just an email with a bunch of them.
We were under the impression that the draft document had been posted as well. So, I can speak to Jeff Penta about it, or Lynn can,
Right, thank you.
and we can find out about that, because
And it is also
Definitely
entirely
looked at it.
possible it might have gotten caught in a spam filter, or the attachment might have not
thought it
come
was
through.
premature until our next meeting, and we had a meeting that was canceled, so.
Yep.
So,
Although that seems like a lot of clicks for somebody like Mike or a citizen to see if they're used to going to just the town website. Now you gotta click through to find ours, so maybe we should bring that up too, that we should be sending documents over and, to you,
Duplicating them
Kirsten,
right there,
to get them
yeah.
on the primary website.
Well, maybe I should catch up with Kristen and make that desktop document, and so you can one-click and it jumps to documents like that.
Yeah,
that are-
something like that would be
That are
good.
hidden.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying, last night that they're having problems navigating the website, but maybe we should have a town-wide
you know, I certainly
instruction.
understand when things change, it's different.
Yeah.
You know, there's hovering over these links are going to get you to most of what you need, even for example, like bids, requests, almost everything that's major access has a link up here, and the search bar is your friend,
I-
for sure.
I did say I'd give some people lessons, because I have been doing it myself.
And I also want to reiterate, if anybody has any questions, if you think something should be more prominent, please reach out to me. I am thrilled and happy to talk to people. This is the website for the town residents, not for me.
Yeah.
So if you need help navigating it, if you want to set up your notifications, I'll sit down with any resident and help them find what they need and get what they need and figure out how to get that automated sent to their email. So I'm thrilled to do that. So you just let me know
Thank you.
and we'll get it done.
Thank you, Kirsten.
Yep.
I think that, while an argument can be made that the master plan steering committee is a land use board, I think it might be useful, given what we've just talked about, to elevate it up co-equal with other, planning board, conservation commission, steering committee.
Yep, those are all under planning and land use boards. So if you look down this list, they're all here.
Oh, okay.
So these are basically all the boards that have to do with either property, they're quasi judicial, or they operate in close contact with the planning department. So they're all under planning and land use boards. Financial boards, they're the trustees in the budget committee, and quality of life boards is anything that talks about the services that we provide to the town of Londonderry. So they're all, but if you hover over government like that, you'll see all of them on that. And then agendas and minutes are, of course, the top one.
Christian, I have a question. Last night there was discussion about both the sort of a 90-day strategic plan and a long-term strategic plan that Sean is planning on putting together. And I was wondering what the tie is between the long-term strategic plan and the master plan.
I think those are phenomenal questions to ask Sean when he comes in front of you. I can't answer that yet.
Okay.
He's seeking feedback right now on his transition plan.
Yeah.
And so once he gets that feedback, he'll put it together.
That's the 90-day transition plan.
Yeah, the 90-day
that he's
transition
talking
plan is
about.
the one, yep. And so I'm sure he will look at what the master plan is doing. He is hitting the ground ready to go. It's definitely on his plan is to look into that master plan. He's deeply familiar with the process of it from, long-term strategic planning such
Yeah.
as the master plan from Lebanon. So I'm sure he will look at the interplay there.
Do you know
sure.
whether or not there'll be a release of that transition plan to
There will
other town committees?
There will likely be a release of it. I think
Public?
he's currently still soliciting input, and I wouldn't want to speak for him. So I can certainly ask him what his intentions are on that and get back to you on that, Ann.
Okay.
So I wouldn't want to speak, I don't speak for
Yeah, I
Sean,
would
so I just want to make
imagine
sure,
he-
but I'm happy to take that question back.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Ron, does that sound about right from everything you know?
Absolutely. His plan, I was just telling John before we got here, his plan is very realistic and it's very objective, and I think it's really good. So if he does release, I think you guys will be really happy with it. He's got a plan that's realistic, and he's got plenty of things to fill in and still get everything done. So I think you guys will be very happy with it.
You don't happen to know if he's releasing after he gives it to the town council and stuff to look at whether or not?
I have seen it already. I don't want to speak for him. I'm sure he'll release it. I just don't know when he wants to release it, but
Yeah,
it is a public document, so it's just a matter of when. I think he's still looking for feedback to update it and get it
Right,
perfect, and
edit
then
it
he'll.
and stuff.
Yeah, it
Great.
did just go out
Yeah.
to department heads
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
So, and it went out to all counselors and department heads yesterday. So I think he set a date in the near future to get feedback on it, and at which point he'll revise it
and then send
and
it
then
out.
share it, yeah.
Yeah.
But I will double check all that information. I want to make sure I didn't misspeak, Ann, and I will let you know.
That's all right, thanks.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Happy to answer any other questions, but I'm good.
Okay, great. Anything else from the board before we move on? Okay, moving into subcommittee discussions. So I think we've got a couple of things, couple of high items here to talk about. One, we'll get into energy, and a couple of months ago, we were made aware of a request that went in from Eversource and the utility committee, or the incumbent utility companies looking to spread their risk on their supply side across all customers, regardless if they were a customer of the utility or if they were part of an aggregation program. And the PUC has declined to move forward with that. So what that means is if you're a customer of Eversource, which most of Londonderry customers are, if there's any risk on the supply portion of the bill, it'll get spread out to those customers. It won't go out to a customer that's in an aggregation program. And that's good news for the aggregation program. It's looking very positive that I think we stand a good chance of implementing the program later this year. Eversource will be setting their rates August 1st.
Well, the rates, they're proposing the revised rate to go in August 1st.
So we'll know what their rates are, what they're asking for August 1st.
Actually, the requested schedule has them filing with the Public Utilities Commission June 19th.
So that's right around the
They're
corner.
asking for a decision a week later. Because-
Wow.
Because there's a whole notification process that you have to
Yep.
notify customers, so they have the option, if they don't like the rate, they can go pick a power supplier and go
Yep.
through all that process.
So I did have a conversation yesterday with Freedom Logistics, our aggregation partner. And they're off looking at current supply rates, just to see where the market is at. And then once they have a feel for that, we'll see what happens with what Eversource comes in looking for. But I also asked Bart to start thinking seriously about the next milestones that we have to accomplish in order to implement the program. If the rates look good, and I'm kind of confident they will look good, you know, I think we stand a really good chance of making something happen good for the town. And I think we should be able to do it pretty quickly, too.
Is it time for me to interview on cable TV, one of the Energy Commission things, to do a Q&A?
Perhaps. Perhaps, yeah. I think
Jeff and I
that's
can get a
not-
script for you.
I think it's
We'll
not a bad
grill you.
idea, yeah.
You guys come up with the answers, we'll answer the questions.
No, I think
No, I'm
that's-
serious, it's
I think that's a good
information.
idea.
All right, let's do that then.
I think that's a good idea. But I thought that was really good news for the program. We do have a situation with Freedom Energy where our contract with them is expiring at the end of the year. So we'll have some conversations with the incoming town manager about what to do with renewing that contract. And he has a lot of experience. Lebanon was, I think, the first city in the state to implement an aggregation program, so he knows what it's all about, the ins and outs, so.
Just be aware that the period for the new rate would be August 1st to February 1st. So if their contract ends at year end, you have to understand what that means.
Yep, a lot of little details, I think, are gonna be coming out in the wash.
Yeah, like
depending
McCann
on
and their
what we wanna do.
contract.
But I think overall, you know, we did hear, excuse me, that Eversource is planning on a rate increase dealing with infrastructure, and they'll call it administration costs. So hopefully we'll be able to offset some of that with this program for the residents of the town. So I'm excited.
How about these, maybe I'm not using the right term, stranded cost, fixed cost?
That would be, yeah, for like distribution, right? The poles, the wires, their administrative costs.
Are we talking the same thing here?
Not sure.
No,
Is there
I'm
such
not
a
sure
thing
what-
as stranded cost?
Yes.
Okay. Is that,
Pardon?
would that be involved with?
It's
the-
not part of the aggregation process. That decision was recently made that they would keep those two processes very, very separate.
But the bill we receive is gonna be coming from Eversource, correct?
The
Correct.
bill will continue to come from Eversource, and on that bill, should the town choose or select a power supplier, it'll be listed under the supply portion of the bill, the name of the power supplier.
Okay, so once again, this fixed stranded cost,
There'll be a separate line item for stranded costs.
so it will be in there
Yes,
nevertheless.
Regardless of what we do, it'll be in there.
right.
And is that not a large increase, like 43%? Whether we use any electricity or not?
I'm not familiar with the details, to be honest with you. I'd have to take a look at that. I do know that there was an attempt, in the current 6 months, there is some under recovery of supply cost. And there was a proposal made to roll that cost into the stranded cost, as opposed to put it on future people who don't pick their power supplier. That was not approved by the commission. So that cost will be rolled into the future default supply piece, not the stranded cost, is my understanding.
So it will be in there, it just will be spread out in the supply cost.
If you don't pick a power supplier, you'll pay for that cost.
Thank you.
I'm not sure, Ray, that you're not referring to something else. So on your electric bill, you've got, you know, energy costs and supply costs. There's also a thing that I call for the privilege of having a meter. There's a big, I think it runs through about like $16 a month, right? Something like that.
You may
So-
be referring to the customer charge.
Customer charge, thank you, Paul. there was a number of months ago, a request by Eversource for sure, and I don't know if they were joined by the other utilities, to increase that customer charge by about, I think, 46%. And
I
I
heard
think,
43, but
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, but I think that is where the costs, the stranded costs you're referring to are residing, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not gonna be necessarily something you'll see in either our aggregation plan or even in the distribution costs that appear on your bill. It's in that customer charge that might go from $14 to $20.
Wow, and that's just for the box on our houses?
Well,
Are
it's
they gonna
for all kinds of
update
stuff.
it?
It's a
I mean,
bunch of
you know, like
AI or what?
energy efficiency, that's one of the things that it's, you know, there's a lot of things rolled up into that, but it's things that aren't based on your kilowatt hour usage.
Right.
So, and I don't know the status of it. I don't know if the PUC has, I
I'm
know
not
that Don
familiar
Price
with,
is
I'm not
not-
familiar with the status at the current time. The purpose of the cost is that there is a cost to keep wires connected to the house. And think of a vacation home that you shut down in the wintertime. Think of it where you're not using kilowatt hours and all that because there's no usage whatsoever. The wires are still there. So when you show up in the springtime, you can call up and say, put in my meter and start billing me again. So that infrastructure that stays there is part of what is called customer charge. So, and historically, it's been around forever as far as I know.
My question would be.
Yeah, it's not going away.
How long are we gonna have to pay for that? I mean, maybe it has to be
Very expensive
maintained.
bucks.
It has to be maintained.
Sure, I mean, there's,
Part of distribution.
the meter's attached to the house, and even if they pull the meter, all the infrastructure is still there and
Right.
everything.
So if a branch
And it has
falls
to-
on it, they're gonna come out and they're gonna replace it.
Yep.
Okay.
Unless you remove it completely,
Go solar.
Go off the grid.
Go solar.
go off the grid.
Cut the wire. No, don't do that.
So anyway, I think it's good news for this program. I'm hesitant, or, you know, kind of confident that I think we'll be able to do something later on this year. We'll see where the rates come in, and that's gonna determine it, because once again, we're not going to do it if it doesn't save any money.
And we're talking about the town, but has anybody talked to the school department?
School has their own contract.
They have their own contract?
Right,
Okay.
yep.
So Lynn, if you're talking about August 1 for Eversource, for their new rate, what would be the go date on a aggregation program for the town?
That, we have to do do that planning right now and figure out what that would be, what that would look like.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be August 1st. There's a lot that has to happen between now and then that's not gonna happen.
Okay.
But it might be September 1st, it might be October 1st.
If the rates go up substantially, then that'll be reflected in the August bill, let's say the September bill. And then the town would come out with a much cheaper rate, where you'd be put on that cheaper rate, and the following month, you'd see your bill drop.
So that's what I was thinking, doing that public service announcement thing now would be important, because when they see the new rates, they're gonna be, and we'll say, we got something for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
We got a surprise.
Exactly. Any more questions on aggregation? Moving on to the energy audit. Paul, do we have any updates on the energy audit?
I've not heard anything.
I have not heard anything either.
Usually, there's a report that comes out, and it may have gone to the Public Works Director.
Dave Wally.
Okay, so I can check with him to see if he's received that report yet.
Okay.
Normally in the report, it would list out the items that could be a potential savings, the cost, the rebate, and also the payback period for those kinds of projects.
I think that time is of the essence here, because we are at the beginning, maybe past the beginning of the capital improvement plan process. If a recommendation is put forward by the auditors that involves a investment that's rises to the level of including it in the CIP, then we would like to be able to get that in the front of the CIP this year, not a year from now. That what, Chris, you just, where are they? I know they've at least appointed some members, right?
Members have been appointed. There's not been a first meeting scheduled yet.
Good.
So I can also look into where that process is and let you know that as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So-
I'm hoping that we can,
Yeah, I'll check with the engineering firm in the morning, and see if they're willing to share whatever they have with me at that point. If not, I'll go through Public Works.
yeah, even if we had to put a placeholder in.
Understood. The initial report did indicate the town had already taken some measures.
Correct.
I'll call it the low-hanging fruit, if you will, want to call it that. But there were some other opportunities that they described that might be of benefit to us, so.
So, any news you get, send it to me and I'll get it out to everybody.
Will do.
Moving on, EECBG grant approval. I haven't heard anything on that, and don't know if you've had any news on that.
No,
Sent myself an email.
until the court cases finally get resolved, which probably is gonna mean getting all the way to the Supreme Court, I don't think anything's gonna happen. No staffer is gonna stick their neck out.
Nope, I agree. Solar zoning ordinance, so I had a meeting with the planning department yesterday, still putting the fine touches to the draft. I think it's in good shape, that we just have one open item on stormwater management and stormwater associated with a large-scale solar development, just to make sure that we're not imposing any unreasonable requirements on that over and above what's already out there. But I think other than that, it's pretty much ready to go. So maybe today, not today, but maybe tomorrow or Thursday, we did ask the engineering staff to take a look at it and give us feedback. So hopefully we'll have something to send out to everybody by the end of the week. But I think we're getting close. And with
What
that,
are we actually getting close to on the solar?
having
Are we putting-
the zoning ordinance ready for town council review and approval.
Oh, okay, so there'll be certain areas within town that will be more amenable to solar, or?
So, a little history, right now, the zoning ordinance is silent on solar applications.
Okay,
And we'd come across a situation late last year up at the airport where there was some interest in putting a solar installation up there. And going through all the paperwork required to make that happen, it became obvious to me that we needed a solar zoning ordinance, which would help regulate installations like that.
oh, okay,
The idea is not to regulate the homeowner any more than they already are. It's really to go after the commercial and the large-scale arrays.
got it.
Yep. And interesting, we have an ordinance on wind farms, but we do not have one on solar installations, so.
That's interesting.
Since you mentioned the airport solar, have you heard from that developer recently?
I have not.
Okay.
I have reason to believe she's no longer with the company,
Ah,
so.
I can confirm that.
Okay.
I'll talk about that when later on when
Okay.
I thought there was going to be some sort of provisions within that ordinance too about people that were putting solar on private property. that the
Martha, can I just
stand-
ask you a favor? Can you use the?
I'm
Thank you.
sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. The standalone solar arrays that people put on their property, that they would follow like a similar thing to the signage and stuff like it in town, that it couldn't be a huge thing in their backyard. But
So-
is that,
So that, there are gonna be regulations for governing the size and the height
Yeah.
of those.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I thought.
And,
I heard.
And I know there's been some people who voiced their opinion to me that they shouldn't be allowed, but I don't necessarily think that's appropriate either. So we're
Right.
trying to
And-
figure out the right
Yeah,
answer to
and we
that.
didn't have anything to
Yep.
guide them, so,
Yep.
okay.
So
Thank
this
you.
is in the yard versus on the houses or garages,
what they call
Figure-
ground mount.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
yeah. I say on a pedestal, but it's a ground mount.
There's a huge, actually, out on the Allison Shoals, at Star Island, they have a huge area of solar arrays out there on the ground. And I don't know what the ordinances were in sort of the state of Maine for that operation, but it might be useful to look at other sort of municipalities and see what their ordinances
So
look
we
like.
based ours on guidance from the state of New Hampshire and Rochester, Bedford. There was one other community that escapes me, might be Nashua right now. So we did look at other municipalities to see what they are doing.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the state of New Hampshire Department of Energy had some good guidelines. And so we've been following those. We've updated them a little bit based on current situation, but and then we went out to industry, and we also solicited input from industry as well to make sure that we're not missing something. And we got
Well, it
some
might
good
be
feedback.
interesting just to take a trip out to, it takes like an hour to get out to Star Island. Take a trip out there.
Field trip?
Do we get
Little
chowder?
field trip.
We get chowder if we go out there?
Well, you
pay
do
for the
get
boat?
lobster rolls. You do get lobster rolls on the island. There you go.
$23 a piece.
Can we expense lobster rolls if we go out to lobster
Yeah,
rolls?
I saw
doubt it.
$60 a pound the other day.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that if Justin watches this, his face will turn a little red right now.
Lynn and guys, are there different guidelines and ordinances where if a homeowner wants to put an array on their property versus a massive array like that one
Right.
versus?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. The idea is not to encumber the homeowner
Okay.
with a lot more regulation. There's an issues probably they're overstating it, but there's some discussion on pedestal mounted or ground mounted systems. And making sure they're within setbacks, make sure they're not too tall, things like that, right? Make sure they're screened if screening is appropriate. But other than that, the homeowner is encouraged to install. So.
Yeah, so the homeowner
Right.
goes through the process of what you guys know is, what's my location, what's my coverage of sun, what's my tree coverage?
Yep.
And thus, in order to be profitable or worthwhile, array needs to be this big,
Yep.
this big.
Yep.
So that's where it gets into,
Yep.
Yep, thank you.
And a building permit will be required, but it is today if somebody wanted to put an array on their roof. So,
Speaking of the New Hampshire Department of Energy, the state has a lot of state buildings. I see virtually no solar panels on any of the buildings. Do they have any interest of putting it on any of their buildings?
I don't know.
Ask Ron.
I don't think they have an interest
I'm
right
just
now.
wondering, you know what I mean? I go up to Concord, I look at the buildings, and there's a lot of them that have some nice roofs that you could put solar panels on. And just wondering why they would not do that.
Don't know.
We'll be checking on that.
Any other questions on the solar zoning ordinance or on the energy subcommittee?
I could add one thing on the energy. I had a recent email exchange with one of the leading solar installers in the state, and they have decided to put on hold their community solar efforts. And I'm sure it's driven by, the stuff that's going on in Washington right now. There's another one I want to talk to that I haven't talked to yet, they're not, let us know at the next meeting, but, it's another thing that we're going to be up against in our efforts to
Yep.
come up with a community solar installation, which I still think is an extremely worthwhile thing to do.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, great. Moving on to water. Jeff?
Kirsten,
Absolutely.
I made my water PowerPoint so everyone has some stuff to look at.
Nice pictures.
And the date is correct this time. So we've organized things a couple ways this time. Last time we did it, we had immediate, intermediate, and long-term. We added a new section of things that the town is working on that we need to have situational awareness, but they're not our responsibilities, but we need to know what's going on, or it's appropriate for us to know what's going on. So if we go to the first item, it's in the hands of town leadership. They're working on the Tinkham water system, and I've heard that there's going to be some action on that in the short term. Is that
There
correct?
is, yeah. We're still trying to finalize dates. In all honesty, we're working around vacations for right now. So their primary scheduler is on vacation at the moment. But
Okay.
now that Sean's here, we're trying to nail down that date.
Go
Could
ahead.
I
Brian.
ask,
No, please.
who's working on that? Who's working on that?
So John Trottier and I are in contact with the EPA. The same people that we talked about last time on it. Yep, it's still John Trottier and I. We're working with the folks at the
Cheryl.
EPA and the NHDES. Yep,
Good. That's
Cheryl
good.
Sprague and Aaron
Good.
Sheehan at the EPA.
Did you talk?
So
Go ahead.
in our last water meeting, Ann expressed, and I don't want to, don't let me speak for you, Ann, but she expressed she communicated her relationships with the EPA and said that she may be able to be a resource if you could use her. Am I speaking that correctly, Ann? This is an opportunity to communicate that and
Yeah, I
so
mean,
available?
I did write a note
Okay.
to the folks on email to a couple of the RPMs on the Tinkham
RPN? Oh, is that the
remedial
EPA people?
project
Okay, got it.
manager for a Superfund site. And I said, you know, it'd be great to get together, catch up, see what's going on at the site. And I think because the town's communicating with them, or there's a lot of upheaval right now at EPA, and at that time when I contacted them, a lot of folks were working from home, and they weren't back in the office yet. But I haven't heard back from.
So could you be a resource for Kirsten and Mr. Trottier?
Yeah, I'd be glad to.
Help.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled to use your expertise. Yeah, so the last email we had was about a week ago. So we are in active conversation with them. We're just,
Perfect.
you know,
Who are
there's.
you actually talking with here? Are you talking with the RPMs, the community relations
Nope, we're talking with
people?
the team. So Cheryl Sprague is
Right.
is the project lead, and Aaron
Right.
Sheehan runs all their communication. So it's Aaron Sheehan who does all their communication and scheduling, and so he's the one who's really kind of shepherding the process through on that end.
Yeah, that'll
Cheryl,
take you forever. Sorry,
Cheryl
going
is-
through
yeah.
Aaron. Cheryl she's the sort of lead person.
she's on all
but-
the emails as well. Yep.
Yeah.
So the emails are always, all these emails are 5 people. It's Aaron Sheehan, Cheryl Sprague, Renee Nolick from DES, John Trottier, and myself on all the scheduling emails. So all 5 of us are on every email that goes back and forth, so there's no missed, you know, it's a chain between all of us. So again, they have to get the interim remedy approved internally,
Yeah.
and once they get that,
the
they want to meet
document.
with staff leadership and with Sean, just to introduce themselves and to make sure he's caught up with what they're gonna tell his community. And then there's the public meeting where they explain it, and then there's the public hearing. So there'll be 2 public sessions. They're gonna be held, when they're held, they're gonna be held in this room. There'll be plenty of notice, but they are, but like I said, right now, there's a key person is on vacation, so we're just waiting, they get back according to their out of office on Fridays. Their vacation ends Friday. So I'm anticipating some movement when they make their
Get
way
back.
through their email inbox next week. So,
Okay.
yep, so that's where we stand on that.
Great. Well, we've got a unique resource here in town, and
Absolutely.
don't,
Yeah, I actually know Cheryl pretty well. My
Yeah.
brother's a
Yeah.
lawyer in Lexington,
Mm-hmm.
and he did the closing on her house. So I know
So we
pretty well.
assume these bright colored patches are impacted residents?
properties with private well. okay. With private well exceedance of AGQCS in the least one sampling effort.
And
So-
this came from the engineering, or this came from
EPA Community
EPA?
Involvement Plan, September 2004.
That's all.
That's the
24.
document that was released last
24.
September.
Yeah, you've seen this before, right?
Yep.
You've seen this.
Pink is not good.
Okay.
We discussed this last fall.
Yeah, this is a graphic from last fall. This is just an update. You know, town is working on this. We need to be aware of it. Kirsten, what's going on? Thanks, Kirsten.
This map came from the EPA, is that correct?
Yep, EPA Community Involvement Plan, September 2024.
Okay. You have other questions?
No.
You're looking at me.
No,
like-
I'm answering questions. So, this is just us trying to get a download from Kirsten. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, no problem. Yep. And again, we have a routine where we have been going back and forth. This is not silent.
Kirsten. No, understood.
Yep.
Okay, next.
Could you just point out which is Ross Drive and which is Tocino?
So, this is Tokenau? That's Russ.
Okay, thank you.
Does it say on there what the numbers are for those homes or wells or anything? Does it give us any numbers as to what?
No.
I can
Yeah.
find the source and email it to you, Ann.
Oh, okay.
I just pulled that off an EPA
That's all right.
graphic and.
That's all right. I was just wondering if on that, because I can't see it too
Yeah.
well from here, whether or not there are any numbers there.
aren't
So with the PFAS
Yeah,
appeal.
I can pull up that.
How long
that
does this
doc.
take
If you
us
want,
to
I can
go in
email
now?
it to you.
25 years?
I know.
And if the legend is correct, each of those pink dots may represent only one exceedance in one sampling at some point. What we don't know is if it goes all the way back to the beginning of the
Time.
management, then I would imagine that a lot of these are already diminished from when they first exceeded.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
But
I
they
know
could
it's in
have
the
gone the other
What?
direction too.
deep
Is
rock.
that diminished? Actually, I think they got worse.
Well, it depends what level you're looking at,
No, that's true.
deep or shallow.
I was just saying to Ian, I said, this is going on for 25 years now. That's what it feels like.
There's a lot of new building going on
Yes.
in
there
that
is.
area.
So,
So it's
that's
sort of a
good.
worst case is what
Good
I'm trying to
news.
say.
yeah, so next slide.
Hopefully, we'll get a date soon.
Thank you.
Thank
for the
you.
brief.
And trust me, as soon as I have that date, this will not be this is not something that if you haven't heard from me, the date doesn't exist yet. You will hear from me as soon as the date exists.
Thank-
Christian,
After Sean, you'll be my next stop.
Thank you.
Christian, is there any way we can meet with folks before the public meetings, that the utility committee can meet with those guys beforehand?
I can certainly broach
Yeah.
the idea.
Can ask some questions.
I think that is kind of the purpose of the public meeting when they do their plan. I think that's the idea, is though, so that not only the utilities committee, but the entire community can ask,
Everybody hears the
affected can ask those questions, so everybody's present for it who wants to be.
Yeah.
It'll be recorded and it'll be tracked, and if
Right,
there's
right.
questions you have in advance, we can certainly do that.
Yeah, I would say if anybody has questions in advance, get them into Kirsten's hands.
I mean, you can
Right.
just, if you have questions for him, you can send me the email now and I'll start building that document,
Sure.
but yeah.
Here's
so-
one question.
And you-
Well,
What's the
sorry.
latest testing? What's the latest testing showing?
What's the
Can you
latest
email that to me and then I will give them that question, because that is not an answer I have.
Well,
Yeah.
that was his idea.
Yeah.
You wanna mail us?
Do we, would we be allowed to ask questions in regards to the monitoring wells on the Tinkham site?
Oh, you can ask any questions you want to ask.
I was gonna say, you can ask any questions, whether they'll have the answer about the Tinkham site itself is a whole nother thing.
Yeah,
Huh?
But I guess my suggestion would be, rather than voice them now, because I am not gonna remember them, please just shoot them to me in an email and I will put it together, and that way I have the paper trail and I'll be able to put it together. So go ahead and email me the questions, as you can start now, but like I said, as soon as we have that date, I'll make sure I communicate it to them. As soon as we have that date, we'll put any documentation that they have up publicly, we'll reach out to the people in the area. So, but again, like I said, as soon as I have that date, aside from making sure that Director Trottier and our new town manager and the assistant town manager have it, you guys are my next stop, I promise.
Yep.
And Ron.
it's useful.
Ron will
I
know
mean,
first.
For us to come up with questions, it's useful for us to see the interim report.
We'll put any
so that
documentation,
you
yeah.
can review it before the, yeah.
Yep. We, I've been talking to Aaron, we'll put up when they have the date, we'll put up a web page with all their documents on it.
Okay.
On
great.
our website, not their website, it'll be on our website. And we'll put a news flash item out, so it'll get pushed out to people who are
Perfect.
subscribed. So it'll go up there, we'll put it on Facebook, we'll make sure it gets out as soon as we
Perfect.
get it. But I do wanna wait until we have the date for that,
Yes.
and we have the documents, because in the meantime, we don't have any new information than what we had when they released this report last September. So this report that Jeff pulled the picture of, that's the most recent information we have.
That's just the community involvement plan.
Exactly. That is the
Right,
most
it's
thing.
not
that
really a
it's not the
report.
remediation at
Yeah,
all.
it's
No.
not.
So the next
Yeah, I
thing,
used to write those, so.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep, so
Good.
that's the most recent we have, but as soon as I have more, you guys will know, I promise.
I assume you have the last report from the EPA, the 5-year report.
The last 5-year report, it's on the EPA's website. It's public, yep.
Okay.
Yep, you can get that by going to the EPA's website, you can absolutely
I
get
already
it.
have it, yeah.
Okay,
I think it's available in the library too, if anybody's wants
Highly-
to
yes,
see a hard
likely, yeah.
copy.
All right, next slide.
Great.
So this is the high range water line. We had a little bit of progress on this. Sorry about the hole in the upper right hand side. I had two quick conversations on Monday, one with engineering and one with Justin, the finance guy. Just briefed Mr. Trottier on what we're doing and what's going on. Very brief conversation. I think 15 minutes. This is what's going on. This is what we're doing. We're trying to collect data and understand that we're not the policy people. We're just trying to make a package that's easy for you guys to work with. And as we move forward, we'll pull more data to you. He seemed very excited and very interested. I got a download. That was on the water build out. Sorry, got a download from him on the high range road water line. Again, the construction start is pending. It should be starting any minute now. And they have agreed to provide us with I didn't ask for the scope of work, but I anticipate getting a schedule and a plan of the construction, the small document on the bottom right in far more detail, and the copies of the construction progress reports that they're going to be getting from the general contractor and the excavation company. So we're going to have the most up-to-date data that the town has. They haven't put shovels in the ground, and that's the pacing issue on whether thing is 5 days out, 10 days out, 20 days out. That's the pacing issue. Haven't put shovels in the ground as of yesterday. And the phrase I got was, it's imminent, it's pending, it's any day now, it's happening soon. So there's going to be disruption throughout the rest of the year on High Range Road. And I've been asked to announce it as the meeting on the next slide. Is don't go talk to the people that are doing the heavy construction on the busy town road. That can create an OSHA problem on a busy street, and it's super expensive if you disrupt a construction crew with heavy equipment. I don't know what the town would do if we start causing big OSHA violations and disrupting the town.
We couldn't cause,
Yeah.
We couldn't
We're not
cause
gonna
the
do that.
OSHA violations, the people working there. would
I'm just
cause
saying,
the
if we're like in the middle of stuff, I've just been asked
Yeah.
to announce to
Just
please don't
explain.
interrupt the people.
I think we should double park, honk our horn.
And that's just why we're being chastised.
However,
I'm just kidding.
Let's slow it down
Guys,
even more,
A
right?
little Ben Franklin,
However, the idea of
Humor.
a field trip to talk about what's going on, that was broached and received positively when it's appropriate. Yeah. So if people have an interest in a field trip, maybe for the kids wanting to see how a water line goes in for the science kids or people here, I have no interest in that.
Too much, no.
But if people want to have a field trip, we can arrange a field trip. And any questions, get them to me or Lynn, and we'll get them to Kirsten. And
So we can
file
teach
it.
kids that one guy sits in the dozer, one guy watches the guy sits in the dozer, one guy watches the guy who watches, one guy supervises. They can.
And then you
that's
have
what
the
I wanna
quality
be.
assurance.
That's
and
what
then
I
you have
wanna
the
be.
document- Yeah.
It hasn't started yet, John.
So, no one here is going to do this, but leave them alone.
Leave it alone.
I was promised to mention this. All right.
Good idea.
Next slide. All right. Short-term activities. Next slide. Water portion of the master plan. We've got the first draft done. We shared hard copies with the entire water committee. Everyone's taking a look at it. Next step, we're going to collect feedback from the water committee, send it to Lynn, have them incorporate it with the rest of it, and then it'll be incorporated into the master plan and sent to these guys for voting and approval. So we've got our first draft turned in, and now it's editing, which makes it's the easy part. And I am asking the water committee to have your edits for the next water meeting in 2 weeks, or before. And
So
we'll,
is that the 21st?
whatever the math
The
says.
second Saturday.
Yeah.
So
Summer
that I think we're
solstice.
progressing very well. Next slide.
Two Saturdays.
State Water Commission, we actually covered this. This is the
10 o'clock.
737
Okay.
PFAS that Ron talked about earlier. My language is a little bit off when I was writing the slides, but Ron gave us the brief on this earlier. It's the PFAS Commission. So we may be asking Ron just for quick updates, 30, on a monthly basis if
Absolutely.
anything's going on.
Yeah.
So I might incorporate that in the, brief to us at the front of the slides. So
I can get you before the meeting too if you want.
that would be great. Then I can just make a slide for it and this is what's going on. So we've covered this slide. Next slide. Intermediate concerns. These are things that are coming up over time, in the within a year-ish. John is working on the Pennachuck active projects slide. It sounds like there's some not pushback, but some challenges in getting it updated on a rate.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're kind of busy right now, but I ping them once a week, so
Yep,
I'll
yep.
I actually have to talk to her about something else tomorrow, so.
But I think this is a really good document. I think it's very well put together, very well, right level of detail. We don't need to know, the granular information, but this is incredibly helpful. And
Yeah.
super interesting to me.
Yes, it is.
And I can't imagine they're not able to pull something like this off their ERP system. But they might not be able to. So this is still a product that we're trying to put together. We're working on a system. All right, next slide. Community outreach. I got nothing done on this last month, but my clients for work are all on vacation, so I'll have more time to work on water stuff. Luckily, I'm on retainer with 85% of my clients, so I still get paid this month. So I'm going to reach out to the people that sent emails back on things that they would be interested in. I think I've got 3 people that responded, so it's expect to hear from me in the next day or 2 or 3.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and again, it's kind of fun. It's doing like a mini TED talk on something that is of interest to you. And if anybody has something that's of interest, just send me an email and we'll try to put something together. Or if anyone wants to participate and be part of the back and forth, you could be a YouTube star. All right, next slide. This is long-term stuff. This is our sort of marquee long-term item is the build-out of the water system, Kirsten. This is the last mile build-out is what we've started calling it. This is going to be a long-term plan. Everybody saw the presentation from Pennachuck last month. It's just the water mains is $258 million. That's not including the line to the house. So, just pulling a number out of the air, 50 to another 100 million-ish.
Yep.
I don't know. I think that's a directionally correct number. It could be half that. It could be twice that. So I had a quick conversation with Mr. Dunn, gave him a brief on this, told him what we're doing. He suggested I talk to the engineering and finance guys. I had a quick conversation with those guys. Talked to Mr. Trottier, talked to Justin.
Campo.
Yes. That was a very quick conversation. He was doing payroll, and I didn't want to interrupt that. But told him what we're doing, told him that we're trying to understand the cash flow to the town, because the town is not going to own, well, our current understanding is the town does not own the pipes, but they do get taxes on the pipes. So I would like to understand how much tax we get on, I can't believe I'm saying this. I would like to make sure that we get a lot of tax on those pipes. Sorry. I want to understand how much tax we get on the pipes, because if we put in $100 of pipe, it helps the math to understand if the town funds $100 of pipe, does the town get $1 a year or $3 a year or $5 a year or $10 a year? That makes the math, that'll really control the math for the residents of the town. And if, depending on where that comes in, will tell us how much grant money we want. We obviously want as much grant money and, low interest loans from the state and the federal areas. And Justin seemed very, very comfortable understanding that. He's he understood what was going on. He understood that we're having a 5-minute conversation, so we didn't get any detail. I spoke with Martha. I'm going to have her help me with the finance piece on this, because I view the finance and the grant as the same or very, very connected. So we're looking, and Ray's going to help Martha look at doing the research on the grants and whatever else is available. And anybody that has any direct understanding of that, you know, we want to try to make it real easy for the town to say, here's 17 programs and we can get 10% or 80% of the fund of this funded. So we're working on that. John, I've been working with on the engineering because he's an engineer and I like to put work on his plate. So
I'm telling him you said
we're
that.
progressively getting to the point where we're starting to get some structure around the project. Next steps is very clear. We need to understand the finance better, and that's something that we will learn more from Justin, and we'll learn more from doing our research. We need to make sure we get our sequencing correct, because we can't do $250 million all at once. Even if we had the money, we couldn't spend it effectively very quickly. So this could be a 20-year project.
Yeah,
I mean, $500 million is a lot for a town this size.
Oh, this is a big deal.
yeah.
It's a huge deal.
Huge.
And then we're going to try to get a brief, you know, we need to cross-reference what Pennachuck sent us with what Weston and Sampson has provided, and that's, Kirsten has put that online. And before we put shovels on the ground, we might want to have someone double-check the Weston and Sampson and Pennachuck, because we don't want to start putting shovels in the ground just willy-nilly. So there might be a $50,000 or $100,000 request to have a real plan put together. But that's a tomorrow conversation. So anyway, so next step is we're gonna, the water committee is gonna try to put together some more detail on this, and then try to have something to share with the town, at least a brief, high-level brief, 50,000-foot brief in 2 months, August-ish. But again, reinforcing, we are not the policy team, we are the recommendation team. We're not deciding, we're recommending. And providing options. So we've got a lot of work to do. I'm going to be asking Ray and Ann with stuff too. Ann, I'm going to be asking you for stuff, and Ray, I'm going to be asking you for stuff. But it's going to be like bird dogging, talking to people and getting information, which you're going to love.
He does love that.
He does love that.
He does.
So there's plenty of work to do, and it's going to be a great, interesting project, and I think everyone's going to, provided the town leadership wants to keep moving forward, it's going to be a real interesting project, and it's going to hopefully do some good for everybody. And again, it's our job to provide a plan and to provide recommendations, and if the town leadership says no, or if the math comes back and it's going to be, you know, $50,000 per house when you include the connection and the pipeline, then that, you know, this could end pretty quick. So
There are other avenues for money that's
Absolutely.
not
Yeah,
up
yeah, yeah.
there. I mean, essentially appropriations, you can ask our senators and our congressmen to put a bit in there, an appropriations bill, that throw in a sentence, and we get $250,000.
So Ann has volunteered to talk to Mr.
Yeah,
Pappas.
talk to Chris, and Jeannie, and, yeah.
Last time I saw Chris, I asked him for $200
Things are
million.
going so well.
So,
If you have some visibility to that, I would love to talk to you, because I don't know how to do that.
Well, that is essentially talking to their staff folks, going and talking. I mean, Chris Pappas is very,
very
aware
good.
of
Chris will
PFAS.
talk right to you. He'll,
Yeah. I
He's
mean,
very
those-
open.
and
He's
Jeannie
very
is
approachable.
yeah, he's very.
Yeah,
The last time I saw him, I asked him for $200
so
million.
I understand.
He didn't say no.
approachable.
I get emails every day.
He didn't say no. He just said okay.
Nice.
May I just,
Yeah.
I encourage every single one of you as citizens of the town of London to contact your representatives. I would ask that any commentary officially as representing the town of Londonderry come from
Yes,
that fine group of
absolutely.
5 who sat up in those seats last
Yeah,
night.
absolutely.
So as residents, please, in fact,
Well, we are
Right.
allowed to, right. and
oh, that's what I'm
people
saying. I'm
can do that
encouraging you as residents,
independently.
yes, but
Yeah,
We wouldn't say we're members of even the utility committee.
right. But again, you can't please don't represent it as the position of the town
The town.
manager. That's all I'm just saying when you do
Yeah.
it. So
Yep.
that's,
Yeah,
I just,
yeah,
doing my due
that's clear.
diligence there. That is for the council to express and direct. So
Absolutely.
And
if they direct you to, awesome.
yeah, and also, you know, with something with this big numbers, you know, the longer we can delay committing the town to anything, that maintains the negotiation.
Right, that's the other
Yeah.
source.
Yeah, so if we can
Potentially.
take it as far down the field as possible and we'll just keep saying, oh, we're just a water committee, we can't commit to anything. Oh, can you take that down a little bit? You know, the longer we can delay having the people that can sign things engage, that is potentially better for the town.
Yeah.
So that's where that stands.
Okay.
Big hairy project and it's kind of fun.
Yeah, and just keep in mind too, this is a regional problem, so
Correct.
there's a lot of pieces to this whole puzzle. It's almost mind-boggling.
Yeah,
The
so I
s-
guess we
scale
need
of
to
it.
also reach out, we'll add a next step, reach out to there's a Southern New Hampshire water thing.
Planning.
Well, Southern New Hampshire
Southern
Planning
Planning
Commission,
Commission.
they
Yep.
don't deal with water.
No.
So it would have to be going back to New Hampshire DES.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, and I don't think we're ready there yet, but we gotta start
No.
thinking about the
Right.
regional implications and who's managing that aspect of this overall project too.
Yeah.
This is a big deal.
It's a huge deal, and I'm trying to move it ahead expeditiously,
Oh.
but not get over our skis.
I think you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
are doing a
And
phenomenal job.
they are looking at it too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ray and I both know that, right,
Yeah.
Ray?
And we'll talk about,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
we'll do like to-dos
Yep.
in the water meeting. We don't need to get into the weeds on this meeting.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Does anybody on the water committee have any comments on this that you want to make sure is heard? Okay, next slide. I think we're almost done. Oh, that's it.
Go back to the
All
beginning.
right, that's the water committee.
So our next meeting is the 21st at 10
The
o'clock?
next meeting is
Of
let me
our
look at my calendar.
Subgroup?
Sorry about that. I know you asked. It is the 21st. No,
14th,
14th.
14th.
Second Saturday after this
Oh,
meeting.
I thought it was the 21st, sorry.
No, the first Saturday is the 7th,
Right.
and then the 14th.
Oh, first Saturday, 14th. Oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so the first Saturday is the same week.
14th is not going to work for a lot of people. A lot of people.
Is that a,
What's,
The 14th, June 14th, day of protest, 14th. You
what
guys
protest?
don't know anything about this?
No.
Yeah, you know about this. I can't make it.
okay, well, we'll see you on the,
They're
we'll see
going
you
to
in
be,
July.
it's a massive day this is the day of President Trump's birthday.
oh, the parade, okay.
And he's going to
All
have a
right.
big parade in
Okay.
Washington.
All right.
Yeah, okay. And so there are lots of
okay.
other
So maybe-
activities going on that same day.
Want to do it the 21st instead?
21st
You
would
know,
be
I don't think we
easier.
need to delay town stuff for political shenanigans.
This isn't shenanigans.
What is this,
I-
Juneteenth?
If you want to protest, and you can protest, I'm going to schedule it on the 14th, and if no one wants to show up, we'll do it on the next
So I'm a little
one.
confused. I thought we met the second Saturday after this meeting.
That's
Yeah,
what
so
I
the
thought
first one will be
too.
the
That would
seventh.
be
First
the
one is the
21st.
7th, because this is only Tuesday.
Yeah, we're on Tuesday. The first
No,
Saturday is the
no, no.
7th.
I
Let
always
me
thought
try
it was
again.
the third
Let me try
week.
again.
Yeah.
I thought it was the second Saturday, not of the month, but the second Saturday after this meeting.
Yes.
Yeah. So
That's the
here's the
21st.
first Saturday, the 7th, and the second Saturday is the 14th.
No, she's saying the week.
Oh,
See,
I
dear,
made a mistake. I made a
Today
mistake.
we're at the
All right.
second. Yeah,
put it
I
in as
made
the
the same
21st.
mistake.
Yeah.
I made the same mistake.
all
I
right.
went to the 21st.
I did
So
it
it is
last
the
week-
second
last month.
Saturday after, because like the
I
next
always
month,
thought it was the third.
it would have been, it'll be the 19th in July.
So it does sometimes end up on the second week of the month, sometimes on the
Ends up
third
the
week of
third
the
week
month,
of the month.
depending
Yeah.
on what the first Tuesday is, because this is only June 3rd.
Yep.
Right,
It's earlier.
right.
The months when it's later, when we're on like June 7th, the date will be later, so.
Right.
Yeah. There
So-
hasn't been a
I
Saturday.
would
It would just
suggest,
make it easier if we could do it on the 21st.
yeah, I
think.
would suggest just scheduling it for the original date, and if you get a quorum, having the meeting.
Yeah.
I think, I understand both positions, and I really
Yeah,
think that, if you can't make it, you can't make it.
Say 14th?
14th.
Other people can't make it on the 21st, so.
Yeah.
I mean,
who can't make it on the 21st?
I'm not asking for people's calendars right now. That's,
Yeah.
that's.
So
Jeff's-
on the
that's Jeff's
14th,
position.
like it is every month for the last 18 months, or however many months.
Yeah.
So if we have a quorum, we'll do some work. If not, we'll chat.
So that'd be my suggestion.
So I can't make it because I will be in California. My oldest granddaughter is graduating and doing her first college soccer game at the same week.
The 14th.
So let's schedule that outside of this meeting, if you
Yep,
don't mind.
we'll take care of it later.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else from the water committee?
California. And I have a race.
John, sewer, solid waste, any updates?
Good morning.
Wow.
Yeah, the meeting before last, we primarily focused on a presentation we had from an outside contractor who's in the composting business. Very interesting presentation that I think ignited the imaginations of several of the members of the group. So our most recent meeting, the primary focus was what could we do with that? You know, a presentation without some action is nothing but talk. So some of the ideas and some of the information that came out of that meeting was, you know, we're interested, I think, as a team in promoting composting in town, or at least making what's available to the citizens, letting them know what's out there. And as are several other committees, we found out that Conservation Committee is in the process, and I think Joy is involved in editing an article for the Londonderry Times on composting. We also know that the Green Team sponsored a presentation at the library on composting. So I think flowing out of that, a brilliant idea came to the group of maybe we should all get together and collaborate on something around this topic, and where would we best be able to do that? And I think we came up with a suggestion to do it at Old Home Days. So I think the working plan, and we've had a discussion with Kirsten about the availability of booths, and she'd like some further detail on what we'd like, and we will get that done. But right now, we're looking at a collaboration of Conservation Green Team and SSW to talk and perhaps show the citizens a couple of options. Maybe a service option. It's very interesting. We got a blurb in the Londonderry Times this past week about, I think it was about the composting service meeting we had, and I've had 3 phone calls this week from citizens, so which is interesting, including one person who's already using the service who wants to maybe get involved with our committee. So there may be some interest out there. We'll find out. But I also think that we have to cover off for the DIYers what they can do themselves if they have the right situation, the right size yard, et cetera, to do their own composting if they have an interest. And of course, since we're not mandatory in our great state, everyone also retains the option of doing absolutely nothing at all. Okay, so we can present and cover off the sane and the insane.
In the membrane?
Pardon?
In the membrane?
In the membrane.
Oh, that's not,
Oh,
that's
did I
too,
miss
yeah.
something?
Sorry,
I got that one,
I was
Jeff.
with you on that one.
sorry,
Yep.
sorry.
Sorry. Okay.
Particular age group here that got clicked on that one.
Yeah.
Gen Xers,
Yes,
sorry.
that's right.
Besides that, we've got some other things that we've cooked up. Joy has got our Facebook page for solid waste up, SSW, sewer and solid waste, up and running now. So we can use that to reach out and make offerings to various Facebook groups. We found that effective in past lives to both educate and to recruit, frankly. So that's been helpful. Thank you, Joy, for getting that done. Mr. McGraw, we're almost ready, okay, for our close-up, Mr. DeMille, I should be saying. Okay, you find that movie.
Yeah.
You find that movie.
Sunset Boulevard.
Sunset Boulevard, come
Yeah,
on,
got it.
John. We are not heathens over here.
we're looking at two topics. One is, we think we can build something on composting and what's available there. We just have to fill in the gaps, and we have to make a decision on who's the best person to maybe get involved with that. There are some folks that are more expert than I think anybody on the committee is. So that's one possibility for an educational type video, a lot of things that you've done. The other thing is, Ray was kind enough at the last meeting to bring in materials related to septic tank maintenance.
Oh, cool.
And that might be another topic. Most of Londonderry today anyways is on septic systems, and Ray has surfaced a bunch of brochures and materials and stuff from DES, and that we can perhaps cobble together something for a video. And I'm sure we can find some expert out there to tell us what's the best answer for maintaining a healthy septic system. Okay.
I think that's a great
So
idea.
we've got a couple of thoughts there, but we want to boil the egg a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Okay. Beyond that, I think you've all heard previously that the waste oil collection site has now been closed. We've had our last collections there, so we've put that behind us with, I think, one exception. There was a mention, there've been a couple of mentions recently, and I think we probably owe it to the continuation of recycling waste oil to publicize a little bit more about where citizens can take their product and maybe put a little bit more of a spotlight on that.
Yep.
So we'll work on that a little bit. It sort of, it seems to get a couple, the references seem to be non-specific. They talk about, there are a couple of auto body shops where you can take your oil. Well, there's more to it than that. We should tell the citizens where that is, all right? We also are intent in, and I think we're trying to do this before the end of the school year, so we can capture next year's crowd of recruiting some folks from the high school to get them involved in our committee, but also to take that opportunity and visit some of the committees that are available at the school. Green Council, I
Green
believe is
Council.
Council,
one.
yeah.
And there's a second one I think we talked about, is it a pay it
So there's
forward?
a Pay It Forward Club,
Yeah.
there's also a community service
Yeah.
club, so there's a few different.
Yeah, so there's a couple of different things that we can do there, so. Other than that, Lynn, I think you're gonna talk about, our committee need.
Yep.
And our next committee meeting is, June the 28th.
So what John's alluding to is we do have an opening on the sewer and solid waste subcommittee at this point in time. So if anybody is interested in becoming involved on that, certainly talk to John. I'd like to, if you have any questions, I'd like to appoint somebody to the committee at our next meeting. So we've got a little bit of time to think about it and see if it fits in with your goals and objectives and interests and all of the above like that, so.
Just on that note, I will say that the Director of Engineering and Environmental Services did issue his gratitude to the volunteers who kept that program running
Yep.
for as long as they did, including Lynn Wiles and John Mann.
Yep.
So thank you both very sincerely for all the work you've done over the years, keeping that program going as long as it was tenable. It would not have worked without those volunteers, as John Trottier said, so thank you very much.
Is the building gonna stay there, that little building?
As far as we know.
Is it what? I'm sorry, I didn't.
Is it,
Gonna stay there.
As far as we know, it will. I don't know.
I mean, if nothing else, they could slap a little advertisement on that building, because the people that didn't read Londonderry Times are gonna come up, at the next monthly thing and be there with their oil. If they had a little sign that says, "Go to VIP,"
There is, there's, you know what, I'll look, Mike, there is something on the building now, but I don't know if it directs them to specific auto body shops. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, it is a good
I'll
idea.
make sure that happens one way or the other. I think that makes sense. We were just talking before the meeting, we don't know what they're gonna do with the building, but one of the things they have to do is probably get those tanks out of there. and dispose of them, whatever, and that's gonna actually cost some money too.
Yes, it will.
And then do cleanup, and then I think you said, Lynn, to me, the logical thing is give it to the fire department
Yep.
and see if they can make use of it somehow.
They'll figure out something for it.
Burn it,
Right.
burn it.
I don't think that building is flammable.
What is it
It's-
made of?
It's brick.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
It's brick, yeah.
Concrete blocks, I think.
Yeah. Concrete blocks.
Ah,
I think it's got a metal roof.
okay.
It's got a fire, it's got a fire suppression system inside of it, so.
Right, like-
I thought it'd be some good training for the fire department.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anything to report from the cable and the internet side of the world?
No updates.
No updates, okay.
Well, people call me, but there are no updates.
Don't call me. Okay, I guess with that, our regular business is done. Get into the roundtable discussion. We're gonna start with John tonight.
I've got nothing.
I'm
Ron?
good.
I'm good.
No, nothing.
Pass.
Martha?
I'm all set, thanks.
I got one quickie. I happened to attend last night's meeting for one purpose, but I, in the beginning, did get up and speak on a different purpose. Actually, a few of us were there last night. But at the end of the meeting, I wanted to let the people know that there is a utilities committee. It has different responsibilities. And as part of the outreach program, we'd like to get input, things you'd like to see more presentations on. We're willing to do those things for you, and went through the whole thing.
Yep.
One gentleman came up to me and said, I water tested, I didn't know I needed it, I did get it, I got it done for free, and the program ended the day after, I guess the free
It's
tanks
up
that were
again.
going, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Up
You
again.
can get reimbursed.
So I just want to,
Good.
do a shout out for the entire
Yeah,
committee.
he
So-
did.
Great.
Yep.
Great,
And,
thank you.
I think it's still open, though.
Yeah, it is,
It's been extended.
As a minister, did?
Yep.
at the state, yeah.
Yep.
It stopped for a period of time.
Yep.
Yeah, but they
Yeah, reopened
reinstated it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can get reimbursed. I went to, I think I mentioned at the last meeting, that the author of a book called They Poisoned the World, and this woman, her name is Mariah Blake. She gave her presentation, Ray and I went. It was too bad nobody else could be there, actually, because it was excellent. This woman has written basically about PFAS and PFOA. She spent 8 years researching this book, and she actually looked at a variety of different places where PFAS, PFOA was a problem. The place that she spent the most time was Hoosick Falls, New York, upstate New York. And that was an area which a lot of the people there were affected, including the town doctor. That's why it sort of, people became aware of what some of the issues were.
What was the name of the book?
It's called They Poisoned the World.
They poisoned, all right, thanks.
It's by a woman, Mariah Blake. And a lot of the people who were there were people from Merrimack. So we met with a lot of those folks. A lot of organizations were there, Sierra Club, League of Conservation Voters. It was very well done. And there was an interview of Mariah right there, so you could ask her any questions you wanted to. And then there was a movie, a video done of the disassembling of the St. Cobain facility, and they showed you how the facility was taken apart, which was kind of interesting. So it's probably one of 4 books out there that focus on PFAS and PFOA. And this woman is a very well-known writer. She's written for The Atlantic. She's a well-known national journalist. So it was good. It was good to hear from her.
Is she in New Hampshire?
She was in New Hampshire.
Sorry. Does she live in New Hampshire?
No,
Okay.
New York.
And Lorraine Allen was there, and also, I think, Nancy Murphy.
Yep, Nancy and Wendy was there, yeah. So the reps, the state
The state
reps, a
reps.
couple of state reps were there.
You know, I'm walking up to go in, right? and there's a lady on the porch, and she says, "Ray, what are you doing here?" And I was really surprised to see her, because she lives in Raymond, New Hampshire, you know? And I didn't even get a chance to talk to her. I don't know why she was there, but funny the people you run into.
Yeah.
Ray's
Anything
taking
else?
over.
No,
Paul?
No, Ray is not
I'm good.
taking over. What are you talking
Joy?
Yep, good.
Kirsten?
I'm good.
Awesome. Okay, public comment. Nobody showed up for the meeting. Next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, July 1st. That is July 4th week. I know I'm going to be around. I don't know what other people's availabilities are. I think the last 2 years, we have taken off the month of July because of it being its proximity to July 4th. I don't know what people think about that.
Town council is not taking, are they?
That is correct.
They're not taking.
Not taking the summer off.
July or August, I mean,
They're having too much fun.
Yes.
oh, yeah.
We should be mindful of the fact we invited the town manager to possibly come and visit us
Well,
in July.
That was pending this discussion.
well, how many people will be here on the first? I mean, we should raise our hands, yeah.
Don't know.
Take a look.
I may
The
be on
first is a
vacation.
Let
Tuesday,
me look, let me look.
July
and the 4th is a Friday.
1st.
4th is Friday. Yep.
Oh, I can be here.
So we got quite a few people.
So we'll have a quorum, so we'll continue on with the meeting on July 1st.
10-4.
You can make a motion
And
to
if we get-
adjourn after Pledge Allegiance.
If we get really tired, we can say August, we'll take off for vacation, but let's plan on our next meeting being July 1st, on Tuesday. Any other business that we want to discuss before we adjourn?
I sent around a little article, just educational thing about iron being one of the filters, and maybe it's something you already knew, I didn't know it, but I found that pretty interesting, so.
It was
I-
interesting.
I did just want to note and tell people that EPA came out with a proposal for two of the PFAS chemical regs, and they're withdrawing 4. Originally, we had final regulation on 6 PFAS, PFOA chemicals. Lee Zeldin said, we're not going to, EPA is not going to do that, we're going to roll those back, and the only drinking water regulations are going to be on PFOA and PFAS, so it's just 2. And the number will maintain at 4 parts per trillion, and they extended the amount of time that public utilities could come into compliance with that 4 parts per with that 4 parts per trillion to 2 years. So even for PFOA and PFAS, the utilities, water utilities, can have 2 more years to come into compliance with that 4 parts per trillion. And the other 4 chemicals, they're not a problem.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we are adjourned. Thank you all.